This
Good to
conference
start.
will now be recorded.
We are good to start. Welcome again for yet another astTECS webinar. Um a few guidelines before we start. This is to, a smooth conducting of webinar. Please disable your video during the webinar. Please mute your mic to avoid any disturbance to others. Please leave your questions or queries in the chat option. You have your chat option on the right side, so you can leave the chat there and we will attend to it during our question and answer session. Okay, so this is webinar on ISDN to SIP, the next big opportunity, and my name is Binish. I am Director Sales for astTECS. Today we have people joining from across the globe. We have people from Nigeria, the African countries, from Middle East, and from Asia. Okay. Let me just take you through the content today. This is what we are going to cover, or this will be the sequence how we are going to conduct this webinar. We will discuss, in the first part, we will discuss the end of ISDN era. Then we go on to what is SIP trunking, and part 3, a few interesting stats on SIP. And on part 4, move on to benefits of SIP trunking and possibilities of cloud and UC solutions. We will be discussing there. At part 5, we will try to explain what is astTECS offering with related to the new upcoming technology SIP, cloud, and UC. Then at last we will be answering your questions. Okay, questions and queries, which is actually a question answer. In case if I am not audible, please leave your comments in the comment column so that we will know that you are not able to follow. I hope my presentation is viewable to everybody. Okay, so the session is scheduled like this. First 30 minutes we will take you through the entire the content of the ISDN to SIP and these items to be discussed. Then we will be answering your questions. Okay, so let us kickstart. As the title says, the end of ISDN era. So I think this is a buzzword which is going around in the market. Recently, I came across this with the British Telecom announcement that with the BT, the British Telecom, as a recent announcement that from 2020, they are no longer going to sell PSTN or ISDN to their customers, which means all the BT service areas, the British Telecom service areas, you will no longer will be able to buy any analog or the PRI T1 even telephone lines. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, so this is an announcement, and they are planning to phase out the entire ISDN and PSTN network by 2025. Okay, if you take the domestic market, if you see our recent deployments, we can see, I can confidently say that more than 50% our deployments are on SIP. That means 50% customers are adopting SIP, there's a SIP technology than the ISDN technology. Okay, so just give you a hint before we say that why the ISDN era is ending. What is ISDN? So we all might be knowing for the sake of explanation. So ISDN means we know that integrated service digital network. It is it mainly started its service in 1998. It is almost 2 decades in the service. Okay, ISDN is the is the mode of transportation of voice and video over a PSTN network. We know what is PSTN is. The PSTN is the public switch telephone network, which is the basic backbone of entire telephony network across the globe today. Okay, and when we say the move to SIP, this PSTN backbone is going to change and it will be migrated to the pure SIP, which runs over the internet backbone, basically the data connection. Okay, so ISDN is the medium which carries the voice and data over the PSTN. It is there in service for almost 2 decades, 20 years plus, and all our offices, the connections which we have, it is the PRA connection or the BRI connection, or be it be the analog connection, it all runs on this PSTN network. So now the current scenario, there is a new technology has evolved, supporting infrastructure. Accordingly, the supporting infrastructure also evolves. Okay, the ability of better alternatives like SIP and VoIP. So we are trying to explain why the ISDN era is going to end. So one reason is that there is a new technology has evolved. Because of that, the supporting infrastructure also going to get evolved. The other one is that the available alternative, when we say the new technology, it is SIP and VoIP. So when I say SIP and VoIP, it is, these two words are generally used interchangeably. It means a single solution. We call it as either VoIP or a SIP. SIP is mainly a protocol which runs on VoIP, the voice over internet protocol, which is nothing but the voice over internet, and SIP is the protocol. And the another trend is that the increased adoption rates of better feasibility, increased adoption rate and better feasibility from service providers. Okay, so the people are more willing to adopt new technologies and even service. The earlier scenario, the service maybe in India 3 years back, nobody was willing to give a SIP connection to us, but today more and more company coming forward and they have the feasibility and they are trying to pitch for it. And the fifth reason is that the quality and cost. Because as I mentioned, the PSTN is a very circuit switch network which is very complex and very cost effective to maintain. For service provider also to maintain and give a cost effective solution to the customer is not possible. Okay, hence it is inevitable that they migrate to the new technology. The sixth one is that the quality. There is always an issue with the PSTN and ISDN the ISDN network. There is a call quality issues, but today because of the increased the internet speed and bandwidth capacity, the new alternatives like SIP and VoIP can give a better quality at a better cost. So in short, because of these reasons, new technology in the feasibilities, alternative the solution availabilities and quality and cost, it is almost the ISDN is going to end, and we can say that by 2023 or 25th the entire ISDN will get phased out. So once ISDN is phased out, what is the next solutions? As I already mentioned, which is available in the market is the SIP trunking. So when I say SIP trunking, there is a different understanding about the SIP trunking. For one example, that in India, I'm just taking an example. In India, you get a SIP trunking where you get a physical connection still to your premise. That is not a full-fledged, the SIP trunking what we mean. But India, it is just opening up towards VoIP. So that is the first step. Once we fully, migrate to SIP, you can configure your trunk line anywhere over internet. That is the beauty of it. You have to just go through the local, the regulatory compliances. Okay, so let me try to explain to you what is a SIP trunking. Okay, the SIP trunking is the delivery of inbound and outbound phone service over data connection using combination of the session initiated protocol and real-time transport protocol, SIP and RTP. Little technical words. Okay, not worry about that. Going ahead, the SIP trunks are used in conjunction with an IPPBX or a replacement for traditional PRI or analog circuits. I think I can understand that this is little vague to understand, but what does it actually mean? It simply means that the SIP trunking is the ability to make and receive voice calls over your existing data connection. That is very important. So what we are going to say is that once you start adopting the SIP trunking as your the trunk, you don't have to subscribe to any additional channels from the service provider. Your existing data network connection, the internet connection, will act as your channels, act as your trunk line. So the SIP trunking will happen over your existing data network. That gives you a lot of possibilities, which we will be discussing in our coming slide, where we will try to explain what is the next big opportunity that it offers. We move ahead. Okay, so that is what SIP trunking is. So now coming to few interesting stats, just to give an idea, how this SIP trunking going to impact the global telephony market. There are recent research and studies like Gartner, all this research institutions. So which it says is that SIP trunk market is estimated to be at USD 2.8 billion by 2025. So that is the market size only for the SIP trunk. So the SIP trunk adoption rate has increased to 69% last year, which means the more and more people are willing to adopt the new technology. So SIP trunk adoption rate has increased to 69% last year. And which is the another point, the most important thing is that the satisfaction rate with the SIP call quality is 96%. Okay, the satisfaction rate with SIP call quality. Why the SIP trunk didn't pick up maybe 4 years or 5 years back, though the technology was available in the market, it was and few of the customers were willing to give. Why it didn't pick up that time is because of the bandwidth constraints, right? But today we have abundant bandwidths, more than sufficient bandwidths available. Hence the call quality is increased. Accordingly, we can see that in the customer satisfaction survey. And by end of 2020, more than 50% US business exchange lines will be SIP based. So the adoption rate in the North American market is very high because the market is little matured and forward. So the survey claims that by 2020, more than 50% of US business exchange lines will be SIP based. Small businesses that switch to VoIP reduces their local cost up to 40% and their international cost up to 90%. Okay, so that is yet another benefit. So we will be discussing in a separate slide what are the benefits of the SIP or VoIP. One benefit is the reduction in the cost. The survey says the local call cost will get reduced 40% and international call cost will get reduced 90%. So we will discuss with the case example in the coming slide where we talk about the the benefits of SIP trunking. Okay, so we move on to the benefit of SIP trunking. So the benefit of SIP trunking can be classified into the cost saving, ease of management, and the scalability. Okay, the cost of cost saving. Can I request you mute, please? Somebody is unmuted. Yeah, thank you. So the cost saving. So the cost saving save up to 70% on your monthly bills. For example, it is a fact. See, when you take a can you please mute? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So cost saving, we are discussing about the cost saving. Save up to 70% on your monthly bills. Let me give one example, our own example, the astTECS example. So we have an international business department where we make a lot of international calls. Until 6 months back, or rather 8 or 9 months back, we used to make calls through a PRI line or our mobile connection. So we have our mobile connections or a PRI line where our call cost will be in the range of 30, in Indian rupees, in the range of 35 to 40,000 rupees per month, something around $600. Okay, in terms of dollars per month. Then suddenly, it came to our mind that okay, we are calling all these international countries, and we have, the VoIP minutes available for these countries, and why are we using, the ISDN connection like PRI line or our GSM connections? Can't we use the VoIP minutes? So we procure the VoIP minutes, we configured it, and we routed all our international calls with a prefix over VoIP, and you can see a drastic reduction, almost 70% reduction, 60 to 70% reduction in the the international call cost bill per month. From 40,000 we are easily able to reduce, and today our monthly international call bill call charges will be in the range of 6 to 7,000 rupees. It's near $200. Okay, from $600 we are able to reduce to $100. And when we this scenario is possible with with all the companies which those who makes a good number of international calls. When it comes to because we have a lot of people joined from the domestic market, especially India, you know uh, due to certain regulations which we are expecting to be opened up maybe in 1 or 2 or 3 months time. Though we have a SIP trunk available, it is mainly for enterprises, but it is just, the configuration is changed. Still, you have to, the service provider will give you a physical telephone connection, physical connection pulled, basically a the internet connection, a fiber cable pulled to your location, and gives the gives the termination. It is not running on the existing the internet or a data connection of yours. But slowly down the line, we are expecting maybe a 6 months or 1 year. In India also, you will have a proper fully VoIP a SIP configuration, where they will just provide you a username and accounts, okay, with username and password and SIP server details, which can be configured anywhere on a PBX if it has got an internet connection. So that is the beauty we are talking about. So we are talking about the cost saving. uh, Cheaper per minute rates. Okay, of course, the cost saving is from is the result of the per minute cheaper call cost. Uses your existing data connection. Yes, you do not have to have separate telephony connections for that. Save management time. Why I'm saying the save management time is simply because we have a scenario in India itself, okay, in Indian scenario, where a customer using 500-seat call center. Okay, see, 500-seat call center, the customer was previously using a PRI line, and he had 20 PRI lines, 600 channels, one PRI line, 30 channels, 600 channels, 500-seater call center, a combination of inbound and outbound. So he has 20 PRI connections, and managing this 20 PRI bills is not only bill, technically managing is a cumbersome task, because one PRI line goes down, you don't know which one has gone down, you go back and check it. Plus there is a there is a resource requirement, which leads to the additional cost of managing it. Plus you require additional equipments. You have the gateways, PRA gateways or PRA cards. But after that, we recommended them to go with the SIP trunk, and now they have migrated to SIP trunk. The beauty is that in SIP trunk, they just have one connection. Okay, in SIP trunk, there is no limitation on number of channels. So that is another benefit of going with a SIP or VoIP. There is no number of limitation on number of channels on a single line. You can just increase the bandwidth, and you can increase the number of channels. Typically, a VoIP call consumes 64 kbps, but you have codecs like G729, which can compress your bandwidth consumption still further, something around 8 to 16 kilobytes. Okay, so so that's what save management time. So you will end up spending less time to manage your trunk lines. Eliminate connection inefficiencies. The reason is that once you use a PSTN, the circuit switch network, and multiple connections coming to your office for multiple number of channels, managing it is difficult, and you don't have a redundancy, and because of a lot of connections, it leads to a lot of inefficiencies. Okay, so through these parameters, you are able to save the cost. Ease of management, I think I have covered ease of management also in this. Reduce the number of connections to manage, from 20 connections you reduce it into one connection. We move on. Consolidate your infrastructure. Yes, you can have a centralized infrastructure, which we will be discussing in our next slide, how you can put things in the cloud and use this solution effectively, so that you can consolidate your infrastructure. Less equipment to manage and potential fail, because you don't have so many connections, and you have a single connection, or it will be a single connection both for your data as well as your voice. You just have to manage that, so which leads to a less failure rate. Unscalable, right? The third advantage is that scalable. add and remove trunks in minutes. In a PRI scenario, PRI or a T1 scenario, if you wanted to take, you have one PRI which comes with 30 channels and you wanted to add one more, there is no option. You have to go for another PRI line which again has 30 channels. So you want 31 channels, but you have 60 channels now. So it's not very flexible. But with SIP trunk, you go with the 30 channels, and tomorrow you wanted to add one more channel. Yes, you have to just contact your service provider and ask them to increase to one more channel. They may charge a monthly rental for that. So that is the benefit that we are talking about, right? So you can add or remove. You wanted to reduce, you just call them and inform. You wanted to reduce so many channels. Yes, from next month bill, there is no rental for those channels. So it is, it is in a minute you can add and remove those trunks. Pay for only what you use. Though in India, I think by default 500 or 1000 channels it comes with the SIP trunk, but you don't end up paying for that. If your requirement is for only 20 channels and you use only for 20 channels, you pay rent and the usage charges for those 20 channels, right? So pay for only what you use. Okay, but with the traditional the phased out models in the ISDN like T1, even it doesn't matter how many channels you are using. You have a one PRI line. Even if your call center is a 10-seater call center, you end up paying for all the 30 channels. Okay, the cost is simply increased. Then metered and unlimited plans. Okay, the plans are there are a number of plans. There are unlimited plans. In India, for example, you have a SIP trunk with 500 per channel per month with unlimited calls. Okay, in each country you have different SIP trunk plans, which is unlimited, which will be much cost effective than the traditional PSTN network. So these are the benefits of SIP moving to SIP or VoIP: the cost saving, ease of management, and scalable. These are the three critical benefits or advantage that SIP trunk offering today. That is the reason a lot of companies are migrating towards the SIP trunk. So now here let us discuss little more on what are the next big opportunities when we say. So the PSTN is the ISDN is getting phased out. SIP is coming into picture. SIP or VoIP is coming into picture. So what opportunity it provides to the enterprises? Okay, so now there is a paradigm shift how people see their communication solution. So far, maybe up to 3 or 4 or 5 years back, your PBX is just intercom and connect with or receive inbound outbound calls, right? It is just a calling instrument. But today the scenario has changed, entirely changed. Today we call it as unified communication solutions, right? The UC solutions. Why we call it as a UC solution? More than just a communication tool, it has transformed into a productivity or business efficiency, business effectiveness tool. The enterprises are no more seeing it as just a communication tool. They wanted to do with their PBX, their UC box, a lot of things, right? They wanted to have it to monitor their productivity of their their employees, the customer satisfaction of the satisfaction of their customers, the CSAT. They want it to be integrated with their applications in the cloud or in the website or in the CRM. So it is a complete productivity tool today. Hence the unified communication, we call it. Okay, so in the next big opportunity, the first thing is the leverage full potential of VoIP. Okay, when we say full potential of VoIP, it is partially, which I have already explained in the benefits of SIP or VoIP. You can today you can take a USDID in India and you can configure it here and publish it in US, and you can start on receiving calls. That's how the typical international outsourced call centers are doing. All right, you can purchase an internet US toll-free number sitting in India, and you can purchase so many. I have 2,000 US customers, for example, 20,000 US customers who need support. I can establish a support center in India, and you can buy a US number which will be configured in India, over internet, over a call center or a PBX, and US customers call will be handled from India. Okay, or I make US calls, right? I make US calls. I don't want to get published an Indian number there. I want to get published a US local DID. Yes, you can purchase a DID and you can publish it. You can buy number of channels based on US call channels based on your concurrent calls. So leverage full potential of VoIP. That is the opportunity that it presents to the enterprises. Move to cloud telephony, which is a new trend. The cloud telephony. In India, though we have the cloud companies offering the telephony, but it is not in a full term. It's not a cloud solution because it's basically a call forwarding what currently the companies are doing. But with the advent of SIP in its fullest sense, can you please mute? Can you please mute? Can you please mute? Yes, thank you. With the advent of SIP in a pure sense, in India also you can reap into the full benefit of cloud telephony. So once you have a cloud telephony with a SIP or VoIP configured, your geographical location doesn't matter. You have offices in 40 countries. Your telephony can be hosted in a cloud, and it caters to all your locations. Okay, so reap the benefit of cloud telephony very easily with the migration of SIP. Unified communication feature set, like the calling, meeting, chatting, sharing, that's what, including all this, we call it as a unified communication features, right? With though we have unified communication in the market, but to use it its fullest sense, or to use its full features in full sense, you require completely pure SIP technology to do that. So with the migration to the SIP, you will be able to reap all these benefits: the calling, meeting, chatting, the sharing, the video calling or video conferencing. Everything happens on a single channel going ahead. Okay, so reap the benefit of unified communication feature set. Integration possibilities. Okay, so it gives us the integration possibilities, right? Right from integration with your CRM or your PMS system or your ERP or your website. Today we have the web calling applications, where astTECS also has got the web calling applications where you can enable a call button on your website, and over internet the call can be received into your PBX or directly into your phone system, right? So it acts as you are a free toll free, okay, toll free again without much charges, right? Free toll free, again we can call it as. So integration possibilities, it gives a n number of integration possibilities. The centralized solution for mobile workforce, as I mentioned, once you move to the cloud telephony solution, it doesn't matter where is your workforce is or where is your offices are across the globe. Your entire workforce and offices can get connected into a single cloud telephony platform. Furthermore, we have a lot of SIP clients, right? We have SIP IP phones and SIP soft phones which can work on your mobile. Okay, which gives an added advantage, irrelevant if I am traveling in other country. As long as I have the internet connection and I have the a SIP soft phone installed, I can get connected to my cloud telephony and I can call anybody as if I am local. Right, I'm locally present, so I'm not going to miss any office calls, or in other words, it's a follow me feature over IP, or a VoIP follow me feature, we can call it as. Okay, so these are the big opportunities that the new evolution to, or new upgradation or new movement to SIP and VoIP offers to all the enterprises. Okay, I hope the points are clear. If you have any doubts, please feel free to post your queries in the chat option. It is there on your right hand side of the screen. Please, we will be answering your queries soon once we complete this. So to continue with, so now we have spoke about why the ISDN is getting phased out, what is the reasons, what is SIP trunking, what is the benefits of SIP trunking that it's going to give us, what are the big opportunities that the SIP trunking is presenting to us. Okay, and next, So astECS, I wanted to give a positioning for astECS. So what are astECS offering to this new new era of VoIP or SIP? So astECS is a decade experience, a decade over a decade experience in delivering quality VoIP solutions. We have a range of products which is purely based on open source and the SIP and VoIP, right? Range of future ready VoIP products. So we have our VoIP ready IPPBX and contact center solutions, which in today's scenario, you can have, some companies will have already the the PSTN connection, but you can integrate our astECS the VoIP the boxes, the IPPBX and contact center solution to existing your infrastructure. So our solution by default, it can support the ISDN trunks as well as it's fully ready for the VoIP, or it is mainly the VoIP products which can be used even for the ISDN connectivity. And we also have a cloud solution currently for international calling, where the pure VoIP is configured for international calling. We have cloud solution in terms of the contact center, in terms of the IPPBX, in terms of voice blasting, where the pure VoIP is legal. For example, you have a call center dedicated to call the US, UK, Australia, Canada, wherever the VoIP is fully opened or legal. We have a cloud solution for you for VoIP, for call center and the IP PBX, as well as the voice blasting or lead generation, all these things. Soon we are in the development stage of coming up with the domestic the cloud solution for the Indian market, which will be launched soon. By the time the VoIP also may be fully opened up in the Indian market. Then we have set of SIP servers. So when I say SIP servers, it is for those companies, those who are already using a traditional PBX, which don't have the compatibility of a SIP. You can buy our SIP boxes or SIP servers and connect to your existing box, and you can configure SIP onto it. Okay. I hope I'm making sense. For example, you are using let us say a Panasonic traditional PBX, okay, Panasonic TDX, I think that is the brand they call it, a TDX, 900, which don't have the SIP or VoIP capabilities, but you wanted to make VoIP calls to a lot of countries. Now what you can do is that you can buy our SIP box or SIP server, which can be integrated to your existing Panasonic system over a PRI to PRI pairing. Okay, then you can configure your VoIP into our SIP server, and you can start making VoIP calls using our SIP server. And we have the VoIP minutes and TIDs, which is going to be a big market going ahead. Any international calling or domestic calling going ahead, it will be done through VoIP. So we have VoIP minutes to make those calls, and DIDs. You can procure DIDs as I mentioned earlier. You can procure DIDs from different countries. You can procure DID for US, Canada, UK, or you name it. I think almost A to Z. We call it as A to Z DIDs and minutes, A to Z minutes. So we have minutes for A to Z countries and DIDs, okay, plus toll-free numbers. So astECS has a already readily available VoIP solutions, which ready to cater to the market: PBX, contact center solution, cloud solution, the SIP boxes, and the VoIP minutes and DIDs. Okay, so I hope we are exactly at 30 minutes or maybe 31 minutes. So we move on to the question and answer Q&A session. Please feel free to leave your message here, so we will be happy to answer your questions, or we will be happy to get back to you. Along with that, I'm just showing you our next upcoming webinar also. You can see the screen. It is scheduled on 19th February, 4 p.m. It will be on UC solution for debt collection agencies. It's specific vertical based, which will be handled by our franchisee head, Mr. Amulya Kumar Das. Okay, so we move to our question answer. We have few people left their questions. We have Sriram Krishnan. Can we configure SIP in astECS dialer, as we need to use it at one of the co-working space like Regus or WeWork? Okay, wonderful. I think okay, Okay, Mr. Sriram, of course, the astECS is by default compatible with SIP, the outlying, the protocol. What we use is SIP. We are fully VoIP solution. You can right away configure the SIP into astECS box, and I will instruct this to the respective sales in charge, and they will initiate this activity. They will understand more how you wanted to use it, and they will configure the same. So to answer your question, yes, you can straight away configure SIP into astECS dialer. Okay. Taiwo, I think Taiwo from Nigeria. Does astECS as SBC, and does it support other third-party SBC? Mr. Taiwo, hi to you. Thank you for joining. Yes, astECS has got the SBC. We have our own session border control. I will instruct the respective regional manager to give you the details about it. And of course, you can configure third-party SBCs with astECS products. That's also possible. But astECS SBC is again based on an open source platform, which will remain as very cost-effective for you. Again, I was asked one more question. What is the security level of SIP trunking, such as someone steal my credentials to use from another location, and we both registered to the same SBCs? So the security measures of there are set of security measures. We have IP authentications, IP tables, plus SBCs. All the security measures, and the VoIP can be used in two scenarios. One, in your premise, in the premise-based solution, where you buy a IPPBX or a call center solution and configure VoIP onto it. It is as secure as your office premise, because there is no access unless until you give access to it, because you are not enabling any static IP or a public IP to it. Then the second offering is that on the cloud. So when it is cloud, of course, the security, when it is a cloud, it is in a data center, right? A lot of our data today, including this webinar, happens over the cloud. So it is as secure, as we trust. Only that much I can say. But of course, the security is in an evolving aspect. It will get tightened as we, go ahead. So there is no end to it. That's my point. But currently, it is secured. There is no concern on it. So we have another question: as SIP technology support SIP URI in Nigeria, such as calling someone via SIP URI over a public network or SIP URL? Okay, no, I'm not very sure about your question. Is it a URI or a URL? I don't know. But if you mean a web calling, calling from a public network, calling someone via SIP URL. Or URL or URI, I'm not getting you. I'm not very sure about this question. If you can give me some clarification, I would be happy to, revert back to you. Shuruk El Khadi. I think, we should be from Egypt. Hi, Shuruk. What is the VoIP minutes and DIDs? Okay, good question. So the VoIP minutes, how do I explain? So the VoIP minutes and DIDs. DID means the direct inward dialing is basically a number. For example, in Egypt, you have telephone lines, right? Telephone connection, a PRI connection. When you take a PRI connection, they will give multiple numbers. For example, it can be, Indian scenario 08066406666. It can be a pilot number, and there will be n number of numbers, the direct numbers. Direct landline numbers, we call it as a DID numbers. So basically, when we say in the VoIP atmosphere or VoIP environment, when we say VoIP minutes, like when you buy a SIM card and you wanted to make calls, you recharge it. If it's a prepaid, right, you recharge for $20. They give you so many talk time. The same way to make call over VoIP, because as I mentioned, when it is VoIP, it is used the existing internet. You are not going to get a separate telephone connection or a SIM connection. It uses the existing network. So the service provider will charge you an amount and give you a number of minutes to call. For example, to call US, you can buy $100 minutes, and it will have a very cheaper rates, and you can consume it. Okay, it's basically a recharge model, the VoIP recharge, and it calculates exactly how we do it for the GSM, the SIM card GSM calling. Okay, that's what the VoIP and DIDs are. SIP trunking, link resilience, I don't know. What is the meaning of PMS? PMS stands for the property management system, mainly used in hotels and resorts, like CRM used in enterprises or ERP in enterprises. The PMS is for hotel management system, where the telephony plays a very important role, where we can integrate with PMS system. Sriram wanted to know if we have only Wi-Fi provided at this site, or can we still use it with SIP? Sriram, your question I'm not clear. Wanted to know if we have only Wi-Fi provided at the site. Oh, yes, of course. Over Wi-Fi also you can use the SIP. Provided, see the over Wi-Fi, you can have the SIP endpoints within your Wi-Fi network. If you wanted to make, outside calls, of course, it has to go through the internet. But you can use SIP over Wi-Fi. There is no challenge. We have another question, number 3 question. Revamp a SIP URI is the SIP addressing schema because it essentially the user SIP phone number. It is a format. Okay, the format is okay. Okay, I think Tayo, I need to get back to you on this. I am not very sure. Thank you for your the question. I will get back to you once I consult with my technical team. Okay, thank you. Okay, Shahrukh, thank you so much. I know you're from Egypt. So any more questions, please? I think randomly we have answered the questions. Any more clarifications? So we have 2 more minutes. We will share you the details and this webinar over a link. Also, we have our YouTube channel where you can go and listen to all our previous webinars. Please mark your calendar, 19th February 2020, 4 p.m. We have a vertical webinar that is on UC solution for debt collection agencies. So we have given a lot of contact center solution to the debt collecting companies across the globe, in Philippines, in Indonesia, in Thailand, in African countries. We have given the Middle East countries. So we have a beautiful solution for debt collection agencies. So we will be addressing that. We have one more question. What interface available in our PBX or CCTV device for SIP? Okay, so here the good question. It is from RMS SIPTECS Solutions, our franchisee from India, Pune. There are 2 things here. If you are talking about SIP trunk, which some countries they provide a SIP trunk over a dedicated line. In that case, we will have provision for an additional LAN port, the network NIC card, we call it as network interface card. We should have an additional LAN card in our box. So our box will have an additional LAN card. So one thing which you have to keep in mind is that if it is a SIP trunk, you have to inform our sales team in advance, so that when we do the testing, the quality QC, we will confirm that it has got additional LAN card available in the server. Okay, like PRI card for PRI line. Yes, the SIP trunk will be connected over directly. If it's a dedicated line, it will directly go to a LAN port, NIC card port. The second option is that the SIP trunk will come as just a username and account, username and password. In that case, you don't require any separate interface. It will be directly configured how you configure the VoIP. It will be directly configured into the server, and it takes your network internet, the data connection which it has in the network. The box is anyway connected to your local network. If your local network has the internet connection, then it takes directly that. I think Mr. Rajinikanth, I have answered your query. So any more? We have 1 more minute. Yeah, so you understood it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you for your continued support. We will be coming up with a lot of innovative webinars on our solutions or the available. So the today's webinar, we try to focus the current market trend, and we will address such general market trend as well. Okay, thank you for your continued support. Is PMS Same as HMS. Yes, yes, yes. The HMS is mainly for hospital management. HMS for hospital specific. PMS is for mainly the property management. It's almost, they will have their own differences, but end of the day, these all are ERPs for specific industries. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a nice day ahead. We look forward to see you again in our next webinar. In case you have more queries, please write to us either at sales@asttecs.com or you have info@asttecs.com. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.